Hello, I'm Glenda Eoyang. I'm the managing partner of Pattern Partners, and I'm the founder of the field of human systems dynamics. And it's in that role that I want to invite you to this very exciting opportunity. I want to thank Celeste and Monica for setting this table for this wonderful meal of discovery that we'll have together.
Hi, my name is Mónica León. I'm the founder of Nurturing Choicefulness and an OD practitioner for eons. I would like to invite you to be part of our learning journey of pattern intelligence, advanced CDE. Hope to see you there.
We want to know what sparked your interest in teaching pattern intelligence, advanced CDE for insightful action.
I keep going back to Glenda with questions every so often around the CDE. Also, I've encountered a number of people that talk about HSD, and they said that they know all about HSD, and it's all about the containers difference and exchanges. So I said, oh, well, tell me more about how you understand that. And then they just repeat CDE. And so I noticed that people were really not fully grasping what CDE meant, or other people had just really these furious debates that CDE was just, HSD was just about tools and where the tools came from. But there was not an understanding that whatever methods or frameworks may be used at one particular point was not what HSD was about. It required a living stance. And that's what really prompted me to talk to Glenn about what could we do to move the field along, because for me it has been extremely helpful as I learn and understand from others also about complexity and how it can help us have better lives, I would say.
Well, the first spark was that Monica asked me to, and I have a lot of trouble saying no to Monica. But besides that, I've always talked about the CDE across the paradigm shift, talking to people who don't yet understand it and translating into practice for folks who are coming into the field. And this is going to give me a chance to think and talk about CDE within the paradigm. And so I'll be drawing from the depth of the experience and perspective and insights that I have and talking on, for most folks, the other side of the paradigm. And that's very exciting to me. I promise to translate enough that people can follow, but I'll be landing my feet squarely in the center and substance and foundation of CDE. And that's really exciting to have that opportunity.
What's something new or different in this learning journey that you haven't shared before?
We're going to be looking at two things that I haven't shared before, two kinds of things. One is that we're going to be spending some time looking at current events through the CDE lens. I've always hesitated to do that because I'm not an expert in current events, but I believe in these times, in these situations, in this world, it's important for us, as many of us as can, make sense of what is. And so we'll spend some time thinking about the role of AI, the structure of political discourse, the possibility for engaging positively in a multicultural, high-dimension space. That's one thing. The other thing is that I'm going to be talking about the philosophical and scientific roots of CDE, telling the story of where it came from. Royce laughs when I tell her this because she was certainly a helper in that discovery process. But there is a little origin story for the CDE that I don't get to share very often. And so I'll be sharing that as well. And to share some of the roots, some of the deep scientific and philosophical roots that lie underneath the CDE.
I think it's going deeper into the research that Glenda did, into really understanding where the CDE comes from, how can you use the CDE. The CDE could be applied in many contexts. And it's gone deeper into the conversation and not being distracted by the tools. In many cases, we have put our focus on the tools, what to use, but actually developing more our own sense about what it is that we're talking about. And then you could easily assimilate a series of other things that are out there to actually understand more about self-organizing.
Why would someone already working with CDE or applied complexity still find value in this learning journey?
If you're already working with CDE, then this journey of this conversation will help answer some of the questions that you hold or will spark some curiosity for you. If you're doing the practice and you wonder about how to expand it, if you wonder about how to do it more deeply and differently, if you wonder about how to teach it to other people, and if you wonder about how to create the next stage of research and development within the field, then this is a really good foundation for any of those things. Besides, it'll be fun.
I think one of the reasons is that when you do something over and over, there is this tendency to become mechanized. That's your go-to thing because there's a sense of comfort. And sometimes that actually, the only thing that it does is just creates barriers for you to actually see what's going on. The other reason is that there are lots of other people now talking about this thing that we're all working on. And there's a lot of, I think, debate or sometimes retreat into one's place. And not a lot of exploration because we just don't have the language to be able to explore. Coming into this learning journey is actually helping grow your understanding. You have more substantive conversations with others, makes the learning dynamical, as that's the word that Glenda used. And I think before the learning was just dynamic because we could talk with a few peers about different things, but now by actually knowing a little bit more about the background, learning more deeply about what we're doing, we will be able to engage at a different level with other colleagues operating in the same field.
Who's this learning journey really for?
What we're hoping is that the people who are in the room feel passion and responsibility and curiosity about human systems dynamics. And that by seeing more deeply into the CDE, they can feed that possibility, feed themselves as scholar practitioners, feed their clients in the work that they need to do with the complex dynamics that are emerging. We're expecting people who already know about the CDE, who already use HSD in some way. We're targeting specifically HSD associates. Now, that's not to be elite or exclusive, but it will give us time to dig deeply so that in our usual trainings, we begin at the very beginning because we have a mix of all kinds of people coming into the room. That means we spend a good bit of time covering again the old ground for the people who are new. But in this time, we're inviting people who already have those basics under their belts so that we can start and dig deeper and go farther than we would usually. That's what we're looking for. People who have background in HSD and people who have passion, responsibility, and curiosity for carrying it through the next stage.
I think it's really, this learning is for people that are curious, that want to take the practice to be more scholarly. And that doesn't, you don't need to have a PhD or anything like that, but you really need to, it's not just an intellectual journey. And for me, HSD is not an intellectual journey. It's not just reciting stuff. It's actually, do you live it? Can you actually operate under in an adaptive way, and sometimes choose not to adapt? Can you actually see how those containers are changing, how subtle those changes are when the container is a difference and an exchange at the same time? How can you influence those exchanges in a way? And sometimes it may be better to retreat. I think it's the way that Glenda and I have discussed this journey to be. It's a discovery journey where the only way to prepare yourself to come is to have an open mind, to be curious, and to always remember that the teaching and learning are one act, not two acts. She is coming to hold a space, but all of us are going to be responsible for those outcomes.
To wrap up, what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining Pattern Intelligence Advanced CDE for Insightful Action?
If you're thinking about coming, what I'd like for you to do is to close your eyes and imagine where you're hungry. You've been doing HSD for a while, CDE. What's the hunger that you have? What are the questions that you hold? What is it that you wish you could stretch just a little bit farther into? Bring those and come to the session, because we're going to spend a good bit of time talking with people in the room about what their questions are. My way of teaching has always been to respond, to go whatever depth the students' questions take me. And Monica has promised that she's going to take us pretty deeply. But I invite you to bring your own questions, and we'll take time for me to respond to them, or for your colleagues to talk about what they do and what they think and how they feel about this work. I encourage you first to find your questions, and second, to put them in a basket and bring them with you.
Well, we only have limited spaces. This is the first time we're running it. It's lovely to be part of these large learning experiments. Yeah, I hope you don't miss out.
We will be coming together to dive deep into the CDE, the conditions for self-organizing. And as we do that, we'll be looking for both enlightenment and wise action. We welcome you to join us. Bring your questions, bring your ideas, bring your full self and your scholar practitioner-ness to join us for this time together of inquiry and learning.